Today's story begins in Tokyo, Japan, in October 2018. The ever-modest and quiet 21-year-old Yuka Takaoka lived in the Shinjuku district. Shinjuku is not your typical Tokyo neighborhood. It is known for its overcrowded clubs, karaoke bars, and upscale restaurants, all surrounded by towering skyscrapers. Yuka, too, led a rather unconventional life. You could say her life followed a Western-style pattern. She dropped out of university at the age of 19 to become the manager of a hostess bar called Shinjuku Hostess. Hostess bars are extremely popular establishments in East Asia, part of what you might call the nightlife industry. Their clients are mostly men who come to hire women for companionship, though not in the way you might think. The hostesses mainly serve drinks, offer compliments, and engage in pleasant conversation with the clients. In addition to her job, Yuka was a fan of anime. On Twitter and Instagram, she frequently posted photos of herself cosplaying her favorite characters. Her accounts, by the way, are still active, so if you're curious to take a look, the link will be in the description. Yuka was rather shy, the kind of person who isn't very talkative at first. But as trust grows and relationships strengthen, she starts to open up. No one ever expected any trouble from her. All her acquaintances described her as a calm and extremely sweet girl. Speaking of anime, it's worth noting that one of Yuka's favorite types of cosplay was yandere. The term yandere refers to an anime character who is mentally unstable. Typically a girl whose abnormality doesn't show under normal circumstances, but who is willing to do anything for the one she loves. You can probably guess where this is going. In October of the same year, during a shift at the same hostess bar, Yuka met a 20-year-old man named Phoenix Luna. Phoenix also worked as a host in a nearby host bar. It's important to clarify that a host bar is essentially the same as a hostess bar, with one key difference. They cater to female clients. Phoenix was incredibly popular in Shinjuku, both inside and outside his host bar. He often appeared on the Wall of Honor because many women who paid for his company would return to the same establishment just to see him again. I want to emphasize that this is a very safe line of work. Host bars and hostess bars are heavily guarded and are officially under the protection of the police. As you've already gathered, Yuka and Phoenix worked in the same industry. They understood each other perfectly, not only as a man and a woman, but also from a professional standpoint. Later, they began coordinating their schedules so they could spend time together outside of work, and they soon became friends. Yuka's obsessive attraction to the object of her affection is evidenced by her personal diary and notebooks, in which she filled pages dedicated to Phoenix. It goes without saying that as the weeks and months of such meetings passed, the two grew closer and eventually began dating. However, not everything was smooth in their relationship. Although they saw each other whenever their schedules allowed, work created a certain tension between them. The issue was that despite both Yuka and Phoenix working in the same industry, Phoenix preferred to earn money by flirting with women in his host bar. This, as you might imagine, led to jealousy. Jealousy might even be an understatement. With each passing month, Yuka became more attached to Phoenix, and as a result, her jealousy grew exponentially. It got to the point where she would check his phone and even follow him around. If you think this seems harmless, how about this? Yuka's obsession reached new heights when she began frequenting the bar where Phoenix worked, buying out his services for an entire month in advance, paying over $9,000 each time. This was solely to ensure that no other woman could get close to her beloved Phoenix. It's a bit unusual, wouldn't you agree? Now, let's fast forward to May 23, 2019. Several months had passed since they began dating, and surprisingly, their relationship was going well. Despite few misunderstandings, the couple was happy. Yuka continued to manage her hostess bar without any issues, and the business was thriving. She decided to take a couple of days off to tidy up her hotel room. On that day, she called Phoenix and invited him over to help with the cosplay costume. Naturally, he agreed. Phoenix arrived much later than Yuka had anticipated, as his shift at the bar had been long. When he finally entered, he was visibly exhausted. He asked Yuka if he could take a bath to relax after work, to which she agreed. Phoenix then drew a bath, got in, and quickly fell asleep. During this time, Yuka once again started going through his phone. This time, however, she discovered several photos of Phoenix with another woman. Yuka didn't know who this woman was, but she was certain it couldn't be a client because, as usual, she had paid for Phoenix's exclusive company for the entire month. This discovery infuriated Yuka, especially since she had noticed Phoenix's coldness towards her in the past few days. She connected this with the photos and took them as undeniable proof of his infidelity. Now, when someone suspects their partner of cheating, the rational course of action would be to discuss it openly and ask if everything is okay, right? Well, not for Yuka. When Phoenix woke up, he put on his underwear, went into the bedroom, and crawled into bed, trying not to wake Yuka, who seemed to be asleep. Exhausted by the recent events, he quickly fell asleep again. Moments later, Phoenix suddenly felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. He opened his eyes, looked down, and saw a knife lodged in his stomach. Jolted awake by sheer terror, he glanced around and saw Yuka standing over him. This must be a dream, Phoenix thought. Fueled by pure adrenaline, he shoved her away, jumped out of bed, and ran. Yuka chased after him and managed to catch hold of him. As soon as Phoenix crossed the threshold of the apartment, he knew he had to escape. He was taller and stronger than Yuka, and with one final push, he managed to free himself from her grip and sprinted toward the elevator. At this point, Phoenix was losing a significant amount of blood. The elevator doors closed, and he descended to the first floor. When the doors opened, Phoenix dashed forward, nearly reaching safety, but he lost consciousness and collapsed. Yuka caught up with Phoenix. He was lying unconscious in the middle of the hotel lobby, with blood pooling around his body. At that moment, a passerby noticed the horrific scene, immediately turned around and called the police. But Yuka didn't flee. Instead, she sat down next to Phoenix's body. Witnesses were too terrified to approach the couple, fearing that Yuka might do something unpredictable. There's an infamous photograph from this moment. When the police arrived, They found Yuka sitting calmly beside the phoenix's body, covered in his blood from head to toe, nonchalantly smoking a cigarette and chatting on the phone with a friend. During the time it took for the police to arrive, Yuka had written a note in his blood, repeatedly scrawling, "I love you," over and over again. When the Tokyo police realized what had happened, they immediately arrested Yuka. Later, they would discover the letter written with the same knife she had used to stab Phoenix in that ill-fated room. When a police officer asked her why she did it, Yuka responded, "I was very sad and I wanted to die. I thought that if I killed him, I could be with him. I thought that expressions like 'I like you' and 'I want to be with you' could become reality. If we both die..." Numerous witnesses watched as the police escorted Yuka to the patrol car, and when she got inside, she was smiling. As for the victim, Phoenix Luna, he was still alive but hanging by a thread. When the police and paramedics arrived at the scene, he had not yet succumbed to his injuries. Phoenix was rushed to a local hospital, where he remained in critical condition with only a 20% chance of survival. However, on July 1st, just over a month after the incident, to everyone's surprise, Phoenix was alive and recovering. He posted a message on Twitter, addressing his friends and fans. "Sorry, but I'm alive and I'm back." He later added, "The knife injured my liver, so now I can't drink alcohol." Having survived this horrific ordeal, Phoenix agreed to give an interview. In that interview, he did not express any hatred toward Yuka. On the contrary, when asked why he felt that way about her, he replied that he harbored no ill will. He even pleaded with the judge to be lenient in sentencing her. On Thursday, December 5th, 20, the judge sentenced Yuka to 3.5 years in prison for attempted murder. An additional condition that could reduce her time behind bars was the payment of 5 million yen to Phoenix, which is almost 3.5 million rubles. At her hearing, the judge stated, "If possible, I want people to continue living normal lives rather than paying for their sins." And the story doesn't end there. After the attempted murder and Yuka's imprisonment, she gained an entire community of fans. Most of them are anime culture enthusiasts who deeply admire her. They call her a real-life yandere, and her fans believe that she should not be judged for what she did. Instead, they argue that Yuka should be sent to rehabilitation. Yuka Takaoka is scheduled to be released from prison in May 2023. Let us know what you think about this girl in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this in your feed. Thank you for watching.